The journey begins. I'm bored. So incredibly bored. I walk down the street toward my home, wearing a listless expression, while listening to music on my headphones. It's already dark and also rainy, so I must admit that everything comes together to paint quite the atmosphere. Despite having a good job and a decent life, there's something missing. Everything feels like it's on repeat, a loop of similar experiences. I need something more, a challenge, a change, a break from the routine. I've tried to find it in various ways, but nothing seems to stick. I've tried dating. I was quite successful at it, at least compared to my two friends. I've been on more than 24 dates after chatting up a few ladies. After a while I realized that each conversation is a regurgitation of the same themes, just voiced by different faces. Complaints about work, frustrations with family, plot of the newest Netflix show, and vague plans for the future that sound strikingly similar to everyone else's. It's like I'm stuck in a loop, where each interaction blurs into the next, lacking any real spark or depth. I don't really blame my dating partners, though. It's not like I can offer anything more interesting. In my humble opinion, the real culprit is the world itself, which is just so incredibly boring. Career. An endless grind that makes me daydream about quitting my job every other hour. The monotony of office life is simply suffocating. My power-tripping boss is a constant presence as well, perpetually breathing down my neck to make sure I don't forget my place in the pecking order. I utterly detest every second of it. Sure, it pays the bills, but at what cost? My time, energy, individuality, enjoy my life. I want to be my own boss. I want to explore and go on adventures. I want to meet unique, interesting women. I want power, personal might. I've always been drawn to stories where personal strength leads to something more than just a routine existence. Worlds where people can change their destinies through sheer determination and skill. And I don't mean it like Ains, getting straight up teleported into a level 100 avatar with a devoted cast of servants. I don't need that. Or rather, I don't want that. I want to achieve everything with my own strength. Even if it has a high possibility of me dying in a ditch, I would still jump at the chance to try myself. Oh, there's a puddle in front of me. I have to go around it, or my Kobe Black Mamba edition sneakers will get wet. Fuck it. I'm very moody. At the moment anyways. I step into it, expecting a splash. Instead, the ground gives way beneath my feet, and I fall. I keep falling. Why am I falling? It was a small puddle made of rainwater. How is this possible? Wait, this is just too much of a coincidence. I just wished to be taken to a different world, and immediately afterward, this illogical shit happens. There's no way you can convince me that this isn't related. My excitement subsides as I start drowning. I'm in a puddle of water. After all, well, I say water, but is it really water? It's black, and now that I think about it, the texture is way different. Slimy and a lot less liquidy. Almost solid. Quest. Survive for a minute. Reward. System. Is this really happening? All I asked for was a chance, and albeit very random and dangerous, I did receive it. I will not fumble it. 1 minute. Easy. As soon as I say that, I puke blood. My organs are bleeding. My bones are breaking. My skin is tearing. So the quest wasn't as simple as I had thought. Fuck me. This pain is agonizing. I'm just a normal guy. Throwing such a challenge at me without warning is just plain cruel. I try to scream, but nothing comes out. I can't move any of my limbs because all my bones are getting pulverized. I can't see because my eyes literally melted. I can't even feel the slimy texture because my skin peeled off from my muscles. Speaking of muscles, they are also getting torn to shreds. Something is wrong with my brain, too. It feels all mushy. Let's not even mention my heart. It's like 1,000 needles are piercing it. How am I still conscious? How am I still alive? I don't know. I don't understand anything at all. All I can do is focus on my survival. I grit my now non-existent teeth and bear with it all. I asked for this. Well, something like this. I asked for a world of the supernatural. I'm clearly getting it, albeit in a very twisted way. Visions flash through my mind, glimpses of a world far beyond my imagination. Towering mountains, crowned with ice, dense forests teeming with life, and ancient ruins. Whispering secrets long forgotten, a world ripe for exploration, brimming with potential and peril. Amidst the chaos, memories surface unbidden. My parents' faces, their kind smiles and words of encouragement. I hope no one will capitalize on their warm hearts to scam them. I hope my two nerdy friends will finally get some puss. God knows they need it. Unknown amount of time passes. Seconds, minutes, hours. I can't tell. The pain is finally subsiding. I no longer hear tearing and breaking. Anywhere, I can move my arm around. I can feel my legs. My feet are planted on solid ground. The darkness also begins to rapidly recede from my vision, replaced by a light that grows steadily brighter. Shapes then begin to take form and I soon find myself standing in a vast, open space. The sky above is a deep, endless blue, dotted with unfamiliar constellations. You've succeeded in completing the quest. You've been reborn as a primordial. Don't have a savior complex. Huh, I did it. Phew, hardest minute of my life by a long shot. The race. Name sounds cool too. I open my eyes and examine my body. The first thing I notice is that my arm hair is gone. With a jerk of my hand, I touch the top of my head with great anxiety. Phew, I still have my head hair. I don't have anything against bald dudes, not at all, but I prefer to have my lush short dark hair. It was one of my best features. According to the ladies, I flex my muscles. I don't feel much difference. I certainly didn't become a sudden level 100 superhuman. My clothes are also not bloody. Unlike what I would expect after the event I've just gone through. Perhaps that black liquid absorbed it. Now that I have taken a better look at my body, not much has changed. However, I do feel a bit better in general. Faster thoughts, more energy. No pain in my shoulder where it used to hurt a lot after getting injured during a basketball game. My height didn't change from what I can tell. I'm probably still 185 centimeters, 6 feet 1 tall. Looks like my body was restructured by that agonizing process. If there's a system, maybe I also have those screens that keep track of my progress with levels. Status, I say with a commanding tone and imagine myself opening a status window like that of an RPG. Something pops out in front of me. I instinctively move my hand to it, and it phases through. It's not a physical construct, likely only I can see it. Perhaps it's a projection from my mind. I also imagine closing it, which succeeds, and open it again, with only a thought, which, again, is a success. I thank all that is holy that I don't have to say this stuff out loud. Name, race, primordial, title, primordial level 1, XP 0 100ths. Primary class, commoner IV 1. Secondary classes, 1, 2, 3, vitality, 11, strength, 10, agility, 10, intelligence, 101, wisdom, 10. Why don't I have a name? Does it want me to decide what to call myself? Don't mind if I do, then. My name shall be Quinlan Noir. Henceforth. Name, Quinlan Noir. Race, primordial. Primordial level, 1, XP 0 100ths. Primary class, commoner LVL 1. Secondary classes, 2, 3, vitality, 11, strength, 10, agility, 10, intelligence, 10, wisdom, 10, unused skill points, 0, unused attribute points, 0. As I'm looking, I notice that I also have health and mana meters. Health points, 110 110ths. Mana points, 100 100ths. I don't know how health points work in this game like reality though. What if I lose an arm? Do I still regenerate to 110 HP after a while? Do I have less maximum HP, or does my arm regenerate somehow? There's a lot of stuff that requires further investigation. Cool, now let's see. How do I ask for descriptions? Just as I thought that, an additional screen appeared. Primordial, a unique race believed to be the ancestors of all others. Primordials are unmatched in adaptability. Gain 3 additional class slots and each class gains experience at 3x rate. Only the primary class gives attribute bonuses. Gain stat, primordial level, which also receives the 3x increased growth rate. Increase primordial level to gain skill and attribute points. Gain the ability to swap classes in and out by a simple thought. Wow, that is one hell of a starting gift. It doesn't make me op from the start, but it gives me some amazing advantages in the long run. I'm a late game scaler, just like my preferred playstyle in a certain video game where one needs to destroy the enemy's nexus. Commoner, starter class, effect, minor vitality increase, base skill, none, so that's why my vitality is 11 instead of 10. Looks like minor increase amounts to a 10% buff. Now the question to ask is, how do I gain more classes? I hope I don't have to pay someone big bucks to tutor me for years before I can further marvel at the new stuff life has thrown at me. I hear a loud screeching sound. Scree, hya, goblins, father, on it, hide inside, pumpkin. Oh boy, a starter scenario. It wants me to kill the goblins and gain the favor of traveling merchants. Maybe they will let me move with them to the nearby town and introduce me to how the world works and other basic stuff. I move slowly through the forested area. I don't want goblins to catch me. I can't properly defend myself with my fists alone. I don't even have armor. I'm still in my hoodie and trousers. The sounds of clanging, shouting, and screaming are becoming louder. I'm getting close. I slow myself down even further and move as stealthily as possible. What, did you think I would rush out there and play hero? Throw away my one chance at a life I yearn so vehemently for? Hell no, I don't have a savior complex. I finally reach the scene of action as I peek from behind a sturdy tree, from 100 or so meters away. A cozy, safe distance. Well, the merchants aren't winning. One guy is sitting on the road, clutching his hands at his bleeding throat. There's one man still fighting the dozen or so goblins. And let me tell you, these creatures aren't the prettiest bunch. They remind me a lot of what I've seen in that manga. Goblin Slasher, was it? Ha! He shouts as he lunges forward with a spear. He impales one of the little green fuckers. The rest mercilessly gang up on him, hitting, biting, clawing at his skin. Their rusted weapons pierce his flesh. He cries out and then falls to the ground unceremoniously. Only 2 armed defenders for a merchant carriage. What cheapskates. Yep, here it is. 2 women are getting dragged away. Of course, they are not getting killed. I wonder which one pumpkin is. Probably the younger one. They are screaming and crying at the top of their lungs. There's no gender equality in this world either, though it is very highly debatable which of the 2 genders drew the short end of the stick. My vote is on the so-called fairer one. After listening to some of their barely discernible yells, I now know that they are the wife and daughter of the first man that fell. Poor dude is still sitting there with a cut throat, watching his life fall apart. He opens and closes his mouth but nothing comes out besides more blood. He is getting very pale until he finally falls to the side, devoid of life. I imagine that the women are getting taken away because the goblins lack cooks and maids, so they got themselves hired. Yep, nothing worse is going to happen to them, for sure. Man, medieval fantasy worlds just hit different. Do I feel guilty for not stepping in? Yeah, a bit. Will I lose sleep over it? Nope. I have no weapon, no armor, and no training. I'm a level 1 nobody. I'm not naive enough to think of myself as the main character type of guy who would be saved by plot armor, even if he messes up. I've not been sent here by some deity to save the world or anything. At least, I wasn't notified of my God-given mission. Thus, I will live my life as I think best, which is to survive and grow strong smartly, not by jumping into scenarios where one have little chance of success. I'm kind of a Robin Hood. No, The goblins are retreating with the thrashing women holstered over their shoulders. They are moving in a straight line toward what I can only assume to be their little hidey hole. I'm not sure where exactly that might be, likely some barbaric burrow or cave perhaps. The little green creatures really don't seem to have enough brain cells to construct buildings. They appear to be very primitive, with only their tribal loincloth hiding their little peckers. After they disappear from sight, I wait several minutes before cautiously approaching the carriage. Unsure of the goblins' sensory abilities, I must tread carefully. It would be a shame to leave all the valuables here now, wouldn't it? My heart aches at the thought of some useless city lord getting their grubby hands on them. I must liberate these properties and distribute them to those in need, namely, myself. I'm kind of a Robin Hood. No, I don't wish to linger here for long. The goblins might come back once they realize that they forgot to pillage, or others might arrive. The last thing I need is to be thought of as the perpetrator, or perhaps an opportunistic scavenger. Well, the latter is exactly what I intend to become now, but others don't need to know. I walk up to the father merchant. Damn, seeing a corpse up close for the first time hits way harder than I expected. I'm struck with the pure cruelty and brutality of those sadistic creatures. It could easily be me on the ground if I'm not careful. This further reinforces my thought that I must play everything smart and not be a gung-ho hero. He still has his armor and weapon. The goblins were too preoccupied and overeager with their live captives to loot properly. I examine the sword. Looks very bland to me, though I'm no professional. Since the merchant only had one hired guard, it is fair to assume that they are not holders of legendary grade treasures. Pity. I focus on the item and try to examine it again. A window appears. This time, iron sword. Rarity, junk. Skills, empty. Better than nothing, I suppose. I lift it and the weight surprises me. Heavier than expected. I do some slashes in the air, imitating movements I've seen in movies. I must look like an idiot, flailing this thing around. Gotta start somewhere, though. I jump onto the carriage and take a look around. There are 4 wooden crates and 2 wooden barrels. I go through them, eager to inspect my new properties. They are ownerless now. No. I must make good use of this gift. The first crate has fresh produce in it. I see carrots, potatoes, and corn. I don't know how much these are worth, but I imagine they won't make me rich. The second is filled with bread. Well, then, moving on. The third has some wooden carved figures. Most of them seem feminine, in very revealing clothing, if any at all. I can imagine what they are used for in a world where there's no internet and hubs to search for frustration venting materials. The last is filled with neatly made textile items. If I'm not wrong, they are made of wool. They give a nice feel when I touch them. Very comforting. I can see hats, gloves, scarves, blankets and more. I figure this box is the one holding the most expensive items. Though perhaps the wooden figurines might be a contender. I don't know how starved the males are in this world. Maybe they are in short supply. I can easily see people having large collections of them in various compromising poses and revealing clothes. I move on to the barrels. The first is filled with flour. The second with some ale. Smells disgusting. I wouldn't pay for such quality in a bar, that's for sure. I'm somewhat disappointed. They could have been filled with better stuff. I remind myself that beggars can't be choosers, thus I accept them with gratitude. I bow towards the dead merchant multiple times while clapping my hands together. May you rest in peace. Next to the crates, I find a bag. It is filled with food portions and a water skin. I imagine these were their provisions for the trip. I holster the bag over my shoulder. New class unlocked. Thief. Hey, it's ownerless. What's your issue? Damn. Realization hit me then. The women are still alive. That's why I didn't get this class when I grabbed the dead guy's sword from the ground. I inspect the class details. Thief. Basic evil class. Effect. Minor agility increase. Base skill. Lesser stealth. I focus on the skill. Lesser stealth makes the skill user slightly harder to detect. More effective in dimly lit areas. Activation. Uses 30 megapixels and lasts for 20 minutes. So this is not one of those hide in plain sight OP abilities. Better than nothing, that's for sure. I equip it as my primary class, making common or secondary. My vitality decreases back to 10 and my agility goes up to 11. As far as I can tell, there's no drawback to having a class that is of criminal origins. At the very least, I didn't get a notification of a bounty being placed on my head or something along those lines. I continue on with my process of liberating items from those that no longer need them and giving it to those that are in need. The guard spear is also a simple iron one as well. I try taking their armor off their bodies, but I don't know how, and I'm very close to puking from their odor and general state of being dead. I will probably get used to this soon, but since the armors are bloody and look to be made very poorly, I stop fiddling around with them. Inside the merchant's coat pocket I found a small leather pouch. It is holding 24 bronze coins and 3 silver ones. I don't know their worth, but hard cash is always welcome in my books. One by one I lift the crates off the carriage. Man, honest work sure is back-breaking. I start sweating under the merciless gaze of the sun. I take my hoodie off and tie it around my waist with its sleeves. Securing my loot, I would love to just get on the carriage and drive it, but that would get me in trouble at record speed. What if they ask me where I'm from? I don't know a single settlement's name. I also must look suspicious to these rag wearers with my high-quality apparel that is clearly not manufactured with methods available in such a primitive world. What's more, I can't even drive the carriage. I take a glance at Mr. Merchant. It would be smart to take his clothes and equip them instead of my 21st century modern apparel, but you will never catch me looting a corpse's bloody rags to wear them. Nope, zero chance. Well, I did take the merchant's belt, which also hoisted the sword scabbard in the end. Holding the sword in my hand for who knows how long wouldn't be ideal. Then I took the crate which held the textiles to where I was hiding while watching the scene. After thinking a bit, I decide to take them even further away, as I don't know if the guards or police or whatever it is they call them here would investigate the surroundings. After some searching, I found a nice hole that was surrounded by bushes and other forest foliage. I grunt as I place the box down. It really is heavy. On a positive note, I discovered that my new body is much better than my old one, despite it being nearly identical at first glance. I regain my strength faster, I sweat less than I should. My back and arms, which were hurting a bit from the strain of this laborious activity, quickly regained their full vigor. Amazing. The process takes about 15 minutes per box, give or take a few. Every time I move back to the road, I wait half a minute while still hidden to check if anyone is coming. I put 2 wood figurines and 2 textile products, 1 hat and 1 glove, into my bag to take with me. I intend to ask for their worth in a bigger settlement. I hope I can find one today. Once I'm done, I place some fallen leaves and branches on the boxes for good measure. Sadly, I don't have a shovel to bury them with dirt. I can only hope no one finds my valuables. Thief 5EL 1-2. Oh, nice, I got a level up. It didn't appear when I took them off the carriage, only once I secured them in a hidden spot. It is then safe to assume that simply stealing stuff is not enough. I need to secure my new loot. Of course, that is if I wish to level up my thief class. Stealth is op, and, well, I'm very happy to steal from the undeserving rich. I'm somewhat of a Robin Hood after all, without the redistributing to the masses part. I would certainly rather be a thief than a farmer or construction worker. For one final time I return to the carriage. I pick up the guard spear, and upon closer examination I realize that his helmet is still usable and, most importantly, spotless. I strap the helmet onto my head, feeling a slight comfort knowing I have some bare-bones protection now. It's not a perfect fit, but it will have to do. With the spear in hand, I look around the scene one last time. The blood on the ground is already attracting flies, and the forest is eerily quiet. I need to move quickly. I don't want to wait in this shady place any longer than absolutely necessary. I decide to remain hidden in the forest and travel through the trees, rather than walk on the road, moving slowly and cautiously. My goal is to Find a settlement where I can assess the value of my newfound items and possibly purchase some essentials. The sun is still high up in the sky, so I should have enough daylight to reach one such place. Unless the sun itself works differently in this strange land. The brutal reality of this world serves to provide a very grim contrast to my previous life. Yet, there's a part of me that feels an immense amount of excitement. The strange feeling my new primordial body provides me, combined with the mystery of this world's intricate game-like mechanics, and the potential to become an incredibly powerful individual, all of it combines to create a sense of purpose I've never felt before. This is exactly what I have been wishing for years. What I was so greatly missing from my mundane life. After a couple of hours of walking, I spot a large, imposing structure in the distance. As I get closer, I realize it's a town, fortified with sturdy walls. It looks well defended. I slow my pace down to a complete halt, deciding it would be best to observe from a safe distance before making any decisions. I find a hidden spot in the forest, where I can watch the town without being seen. The town is overflowing with activity. I can see people moving in and out of the gates one after the other, and many guards are patrolling the walls. It's a lively place, but also intimidating for someone like me who knows little about the world and has no established identity. I spend hours observing while my mind is busy racing with possibilities. What kind of story should I come up with? A wandering traveler looking for work. A displaced villager seeking refuge. Perhaps I could pose as a simple merchant, though my lack of goods and experience might give me away instantly. The town is big enough that blending in should be possible, but I need to be careful. I knew it was too good to be true. With the sun sinking below the horizon, stretching shadows across the forest and town, I realize it's time to act. Equipped with the guard spear held in my hand and the helmet fastened tightly on my head, I emerge from my hiding place. The strong walls of the town appear larger and more threatening the closer I come to them. I cautiously advance, hugging the tree line until I reach within a few hundred meters of the gate. From this distance, I see the guard switching shifts. Perfect. The transition period means they're less attentive, more focused on their own routines than on a lone traveler approaching. I feel my heart beating fast as I approach the gate, attempting to seem harmless. The guards talk to each other without paying much attention to me. I clear my throat and raise my hand in a friendly wave. "Evening, traveler," one of the guards calls out, stepping forward with a lantern. "What brings you to Aldoria?" "Aldoria, I think. Good to know the name of the town." "Good evening," I reply, keeping my voice steady. "I'm a wandering traveler, seeking work and a place to rest. My name is Quinlan." The guard eyes me suspiciously but nods. "You're not the first opportunist migrant wannabe we've seen today. Where are you from?" I conjure up a rather relatable story. "I come from a small village far to the north. My older brother inherited everything, and after a big fight, I decided to leave and seek my own fortune. I've been traveling the country since then, stopping at settlements along the way. A few days ago, I was told Aldoria is a good place to find work, so I decided to try my luck." The guard seems to accept my explanation, albeit grudgingly. "Fair enough. We could use all the help we can get. Head on in, but don't cause any trouble. No entry fee." Unexpected. Just then, another guard grabs my shoulder. "Excuse me, sir, my comrade is new. He used to work as a knight but got demoted for bad conduct. He forgot to tell you first-time entries must pay a silver coin, which grants you a lifetime certificate of free entries. Of course, unless you become a merchant. ... I knew it was too good to be true. 1 whole silver. Isn't that too much?" He looks at me with dissatisfaction. "It is what it is, my good sir. I don't make the rules nor am I willing to bend them for you." I nod reluctantly. "Before I pay, can you tell me how the wages are in the city? I don't want to part with a silver coin just to face harsh living conditions. Last I checked, a construction worker earned about 50 bronze coins for a day's work. My friend runs one such company. I can tell you the directions if you wish. He has a good name. You won't find a more fair employer. Hauling bricks for 12 hours earns that much." I really want to ask how much bronze a silver coin is worth. I hope it's 10 and not 100. I have an inkling it's 100. Though I don't dare ask, it would instantly blow my cover. Can you tell me how much a loaf of bread is, a meal, and a room for a single night in an inn? I ask, trying to gauge the currency values without sounding out of place. He grunts unpleasantly. A loaf is about 2 bronze. A meal, 10. A room, between 10 to 30. Less if you sleep in the stables. He's saying 10 bronze, not 1 silver. My fears are confirmed. I have 24 bronze and 2 silver coins if I pay the entrance tax. Should be enough to get by for a while. I don't press further, guards are trained to sniff out trouble. I pay and receive my certificate. It's not a parchment but a touch on my hand. After which, I get the notification. Lifelong personal entrance permit. To the city of Aldoria received. They then informed me that I only needed to present my arm, and a guard would use an artifact to scan the entry permit in my system. I wondered how many people lose their certificates and pay this exorbitant entrance fee multiple times, but it seems they found a neat solution as you can't exactly lose this type of permit. I really shouldn't underestimate the inhabitants of this world just because they seem to be behind in technological advancements compared to modern Earth. Gathering information. I nod, thanking them both as I pass through the gate. The streets of Aldoria bustle with activity even at this late hour. Merchants pack up their stalls, children play in the fading light, and townsfolk finish their daily chores. The town feels alive, especially when compared to the grim scene I just left behind myself in the forest. I walk through the streets curiously, taking in the sights and sounds. It's my first time in a fantasy town, but it reminds me of a medieval settlement, since it lacks anything supernatural to it, at least to my inexperienced eyes. Maybe I just don't know where I should be looking. Locating a lodging establishment appears to be the optimal plan. I require a location to relax, contemplate, and possibly learn about local rumors. Shortly thereafter, I come across a small inn named the Silver Stag. The strong light from lanterns spills out onto the street, beckoning tired travelers to come in. I enter the common room by pushing the door open. It is packed with individuals from various backgrounds, vendors, tourists, and a handful of residents enjoying a beverage together. The host, a large man with a welcoming expression, peeks over the bar counter. "Welcome to the Silver Stag. Are you here for a bed or a warm meal?" "Both. A room for the night, and some food." I reply with a nod. The innkeeper accepts my words. "We've got a few rooms left. That'll be 14 bronze coins for the night and an extra 9 for a hot meal." The price is close to what the guard told me, and I'm too exhausted to search for a better deal. I reach into my bag, pulling out the pouch I scavenged from the merchants. Carriage. I thank the innkeeper and follow him upstairs to a small but cozy room. It may not be a lot, but it's a long way from sleeping outdoors in the forest. After making sure my items are safe and concealing my valuable possessions, I go back downstairs. I sit down at a table surrounded by the scent of stew and freshly baked bread filling the air. A busty waitress presents me with a hot bowl of stew and a chunky piece of bread, and I eagerly start eating. I was pleasantly pleased with the outcome of the meal. To be honest, I wouldn't have been shocked if they lacked salt and pepper for seasoning in this world, yet they not only had the essential flavor enhancers but also additional ones. I'm sampling some spicy chili with possibly onion, garlic, and also a bay leaf included. I can't guarantee that my guess is completely accurate, but what matters most is that I am extremely pleased. As I eat, I listen to the conversations around me, hoping to pick up useful information. Most talk is mundane discussions about the weather, trades, and local gossip. But one conversation catches my attention. "Did you hear about the green midget raids near the Eastern Road? Little rape dwarfs are back in full swing." A grizzled man at the bar spits. "They've been getting bolder, attacking travelers and merchants in broad daylight. The guards are stretched thin trying to deal with them while also maintaining order inside the city." Another man slurps his ale and burps loudly, almost making me lose my previously ravenous appetite in the process. "Yeah, the recent border aggressions from the furries. also don't help. I bet the city lord is busy writing a few commissions to the Adventurers Guild right about now. My ears perk up at the mention of goblins and adventurers. This could be useful. I make a mental note to avoid the eastern road and focus on strengthening myself before attempting anything risky. I wonder if they've been notified about the merchant carriage yet. As the night progresses, I complete my dinner and head back to my room. After reclining on the little bed, I gaze up at the ceiling with many thoughts spinning in my head. This world is dangerous but full of opportunities. I need to be smart, cautious, and always on the lookout for ways to increase my power and wealth. Before going to sleep, I inspect my status screen as a sort of lullaby. I still have a bit of a hard time acknowledging that all this is really happening. I have a very strong fear that I'm merely dreaming and may wake up at any moment. After experiencing so much excitement and hope in a single day, I would probably become suicidal if I got dragged back to that boring hellhole. I check my attributes and their descriptions. Strength (STR) increases physical power and damage with melee weapons. Agility (AGI) boosts speed, reflexes, and evasion. Intelligence (INT) enhances magical power, mana points (MP), and the effectiveness of spells. Vitality (VIT) raises health points, HP, and resilience. Wisdom (WIS) improves mana, regeneration, spell casting speed, and resistance to magical effects. Pretty straightforward. If I want to become a mage type, then I would need to invest heavily into all. Besides strength, if there are mages in the first place, that is, and I can unlock such a class, there's no chance I will not invest in agility or vitality, no matter what build I go for. Speed is perhaps the most important stat in my opinion. And, well, vitality increases my HP, so that is an obvious must. I highly doubt I can just respawn after death, so I can't become some glass cannon type. One trap or sneak attack and I'm a goner. I drift off merrily into dreamland, with such a happy expression plastered all over my face I probably haven't worn since I grew up. My childlike wonder and excitement are back in full force. Medieval hygiene, here we go. Day 2. The next morning I wake up feeling more refreshed than I ever would have expected considering the circumstances. I haven't felt this energized in a long time, which is rather funny considering that I just slept in the worst bed of my life, without even washing myself beforehand. I then look around the room and realize how basic it is, containing only a bed, a small table, and a couple of chairs. The walls are bare, and there is only one window, with a wooden covering. It's a long way from the conveniences of Earth. I truly begin to yearn for certain comforts from home, like a daily soak in the tub or a restroom with proper plumbing. I also can't help but worry about my teeth rotting. I'll have to look around the town later, maybe they do have something similar or at least passable replacements. I get out of bed and stretch, feeling the muscles in my body responding more energetically than they ever did back on Earth. It provides a small solace in this odd world. I toss some water from the sink onto my face, in an attempt to fully rouse myself. The cool water is invigorating, yet it falls short of compensating for the absence of the modern-day morning ritual I'm used to. I choose to go downstairs to the communal area, longing for breakfast. As I make my way down, the innkeeper greets me with a nod. "Morning," he says. "Sleep well." "Yeah. Do you have any breakfast available?" He shakes his head apologetically. "We don't. I recommend you head to the bakery down the road. My son-in-law works there, their products are well priced and really tasty." Before heading out I decide to inquire about the local amenities. "Thanks, I will check it out. By the way, do you know where I might find some basic toiletries? A toothbrush, perhaps, or any place to get a proper bath?" He looks at me curiously. "A toothbrush? Can't say I know what that is, but you can find tooth powder and brushes made from animal hair at the general store." "Damn, that is disappointing. Also a bit disgusting, not gonna lie." He then continues, "As for a bath, there's a public bathhouse a few streets over. It's not luxurious, but it Gets the job done. We also provide a similar, more affordable service here. For an extra bronze coin we bring you fresh, warm water in a wooden bucket and a few clean rags to wipe yourself with. Why didn't you tell me that yesterday, old man? I could have used a wiping, I ask with a bit of annoyance in my voice. He looks me up and down curiously. I'm sorry, sir, for my incorrect assumption. You looked pristine, clear. I thought you wouldn't need a bath for the next week. Fuck me. Medieval hygiene, here we go. Quote. Thanks for the information, I say, trying to hide my discomfort. Having resolved that, I leave the inn and enter the busy streets of Aldoria. The town is coming to life, with vendors preparing their booths and residents going about their usual activities. Inhaling deeply, I experience a blend of anticipation and nervousness. This is a fresh realm, brimming with risks and possibilities, and I plan to seize them all. I easily locate the bakery by following the directions given by the innkeeper. My stomach rumbles as the delightful scent of newly baked bread wafts through the air. I enter, and am welcomed by a young man at the counter who I guess is the innkeeper's daughter's husband. Good morning. What can I get for you? He asks cheerfully. Morning. I'll take whatever pastry you recommend, I reply, hoping to get a sense of the local cuisine. He hands me a sweet-smelling pastry. That'll be 1 bronze coin. Can I pay with a silver coin? I have a single bronze coin left, so I could pay the exact price, but I really want to find out how much a silver coin is worth. He glares at me for a second before relenting. Quote. Yes, sir. He then brings a pouch out and counts 99 bronze coins. Yep, my guess is confirmed. A silver coin is worth 100 bronze coins. I pay him and take a bite of the pastry as I leave. It's surprisingly delicious, filled with a sweet fruit jam that I can't quite identify. The bread is fresh and hearty, perfect for a quick breakfast bite. With my hunger satisfied and my new toiletries in my bag, I step out of the store, taking a moment to count my remaining coins. I have 1 silver and 100 bronze coins left. Not a fortune, but enough to get by for now. I decide to explore Aldoria further, hoping to find opportunities and get a better understanding of this place. I soon come face to face with many vendors selling their goods, artisans busy in their workshops, and individuals navigating the streets in a steady stream. It is a lively, busy city, something I failed to observe yesterday but is noticeable today as the widespread presence of slavery. Roughly every 7th person I see has a collar around their neck. The collars aren't linked to chains, almost like fashion accessories, rather than tools of oppression. I suppose they must be magically bound to ensure loyalty, eliminating the need for physical leashes. This greatly piques my interest. If slaves are indeed magically bound to be loyal, they could be invaluable. Equipping one with a sturdy shield could allow me to level up safely by having them take the brunt of the attacks while I look for opportunities to strike with my iron spear. But first things first, I need to get a price estimate for the goods I scavenged from the merchant's carriage. 2 wooden figurines and 2 wool products are nestled in my backpack, and I have no idea what they might be worth. Selling them would give me a clearer picture of the local economy and help boost my finances. Fencing the loot, I make my way through the crowded market, scanning the stalls for a merchant who deals in varied goods. After a few minutes, I spot a stall that seems promising. The merchant is a middle-aged man with a friendly but shrewd expression, his stall filled with a mix of items: trinkets, cloth, wooden crafts, and various odds and ends. Good morning, I greet him as I approach the stall. Morning, he replies with a nod. Looking for something special? Actually, I have a few items I'd like to get a price estimate for, I say, pulling the wooden figurines and wool products from my backpack. Could you tell me what these might be worth? He examines the items carefully, and after a few moments he looks up at me. You bought them from Cedric, right? Poor bloke got himself killed yesterday. Fucking disgusting gobos. No way. I just spoke with him a few days ago. I feign shock and bewilderment. Shit. This means that the merchant, Cedric, was well known around here. I can't sell the crates I pillaged from him in this town or I'm instantly busted. He shakes his head. Sorry, lad. I've seen his corpse. It's sadly true. I'm in big trouble now, I have lost a big supplier. I'm sorry, and especially sorry for his family, then. Were you the only merchant he supplied? He glances at me curiously but thankfully doesn't seem suspicious. Yeah, we had a deal that I would buy all his figurines and wool products he can't sell in his village. Nice. That means he should be unknown a few towns away from here. I need to rent a carriage with a few mules and at least 3 guards. But how will I explain to them that we need to stop at the forest and haul the crates that are holed up under leaves and branches on board? I need to find some men that aren't the cleanest bunch. But then they could turn on me to steal the wares for themselves. Damn, what a difficult situation. Fencing those stolen items might prove very hard. Furthermore, the perishables will rot. Probably by the time I get to them. I see. Once again, I'm sorry for your loss. Could you still give me a price estimate for these items? Yeah, don't worry about it, lad. Part of running a merchant business. Sometimes life strikes hard, all we can do is make the best of the situation. As for your wares, the figurines are worth around 70 bronze each, the wool products are about 25. Wait, don't tell me that the FAP materials are worth this much more. The boys are thirsty in this town. No maidens. ... Well, they are actually rather intricately carved, maybe it requires multiple hours of effort from a skilled artisan. Poor construction. Worker dude works for 12 hours of his back-breaking heartless job and can't afford a single figurine. What a life. However, that means I have a small fortune sitting in that hole. I didn't count but there were at least 25 figurines in that crate. With the wool crate's value added together there should be more than 20 silvers worth of items. Can I take it as an offer from you, or only an estimate? I'm ready to pay those prices. I know that I might look a little cunning, but I didn't scam you. I'm feeling rather depressed due to Cedric's death. I'm in no mood to make a killing with his products. He was a great family man, artisan, and an amazing friend. The total is 190 bronze coins. Here, take these 2 silver ones instead. I thank him for his generosity and part with the products. After doing so, I receive a notification. New class unlocked. Merchant. Merchant. Basic class. Effect. Minor wisdom increase. Base skill. Lesser bartering. Lesser bartering slightly boosts the user's chance of bartering for a better price while selling or buying items. Nice. I can use that skill the next time I trade. With that out of the way, I say goodbye to the moping merchant. Now I have 3 silver and 96 bronze coins. As I continue to explore the town, I start to form a plan. My first goal is to find a way to safely level up and increase my strength and skills. Buying a slave as a shield bearer could be a viable strategy, but I need to gather more information about the local practices and ensure I'm making a wise investment. I decide to head towards the central square, where the town's main bulletin board is located. It's a good place to find job postings, notices, and general information. As I approach, I see a crowd gathered around the board, reading the various postings. I scan the board, looking for anything that might be of interest. There are job listings for laborers, announcements of upcoming events, and notices about local laws and regulations. One particular notice catches my eye. Adventurers Guild recruitment drive, looking for brave souls to join the Adventurers Guild. Opportunities for quests, monster hunting, and exploration await. Inquire at the guild hall for more details. Becoming a glorified monster exterminator. No thanks. I remember my earlier thoughts about buying a slave and decide to visit the local slave market to gather information and see what's available. It's not a decision I take lightly, but in this world, it might be a necessary step to ensure my survival and success. Trusting my life to a free man who could backstab me at any time is risky. magically bound individual might be a much smarter option to start out with a sense of purpose and, to be honest, morbid curiosity, I set off towards the slave market, determined to make the most of my new life in this fantasy world. Visiting the slave market. The slave market square of Aldoria is a stark contrast to the bustling and vibrant town center. Located in a more secluded part of the town, it has a heavy, somber atmosphere that feels markedly different from the lively markets and streets I've explored so far. I hear a lot of weeping and admonishing shouts in reply. A few cracking sounds made by whips can also be heard. What a lovely place. As I approach, the first thing I notice is the large iron gate that marks the entrance. It's adorned with intricate carvings, perhaps to lend an air of legitimacy and formality to the trade conducted within. 2 guards stand watch at the entrance, their expressions are impassive. They don't bother me. Inside, the market is laid out in a series of open-air stalls and pens, each one showcasing different slaves available for purchase. The area is divided into sections based on the types of slaves being sold: laborers, domestic servants, combat-trained individuals, and women, as well as some rather handsome men dressed in skimpy loincloths only. I can imagine what their intended purpose is. The stalls are constructed of sturdy wood, with iron bars and gates to keep the slaves contained. There are wooden platforms where some slaves stand or sit, looking out with various expressions ranging from utter hopelessness to quiet defiance and even some absolute indifference. Seeing some slaves being resigned to such a cruel fate that is awaiting them makes this scene even uglier. Vendors line the main path, calling out to potential buyers and advertising their slaves' skills. The continuous background noise is a blend of heated conversations that are interrupted by occasional yelling or the sound of chains rattling. The cries and howls of the goods are silenced by the sound of a whip cracking and mocking, degrading shouts. There are many people there, including potential buyers, interested spectators, and enslaved individuals awaiting their destiny. The atmosphere is heavy with the scent of unclean individuals and a strong hint of overwhelming anxiety as well as desperation. It's a bad smell, something that's entirely new to me. This place is special for a Western 21st century guy like me. Never in my life did I think I'd see so many people objectified and sold for profit. As I walk around, I see a few wooden posts around the market where notices and descriptions of the slaves are posted. Some are handwritten, detailing the slaves' skills, ages, and origins. Others have more elaborate signs, indicating higher value or specialized training. The slaves themselves vary widely in appearance. Some are humans, others are demi-humans with animalistic features like ears, tails, or fur. I also see elves and dwarves. What peculiar creatures. Always dreamed of seeing them. I can write going to a slave market and meeting demi-humans off my fantasy bucket list. In one section, I see a group of demi-human slaves. There's a wolfkin with striking amber eyes and ears that twitch anxiously at every sound, a foxkin with bright red fur and a bushy tail, and a rabbit girl with large, expressive eyes and long ears that droop slightly. They're all collared, but they don't seem physically restrained otherwise. Sadly, they seem to go for more than the human slaves. Perhaps they are considered as exotic products. Another section features more rugged, combat-ready slaves. These are mostly men and women with muscular builds and scars that tell tales of past battles. They look more defiant, with their eyes scanning the crowd in the form of challenge and angry rebellion against their cruel fate. The vendors are a mix of experienced traders and opportunistic merchants. They range from slick-talking salesmen to gruff, no-nonsense individuals who clearly view their wares as mere commodities to make a quick buck. Overall, the slave market is a harsh reminder of the realities of this world. It is a location where individuals are traded and where power dynamics are prominently showcased. I can't shake the feeling of being both heavily intrigued and very uneasy. Determined to gather more information, I approach one of the vendors who looks more friendly than the rest. He's an older man with a weathered face and a surprisingly kind expression. His stall features a mix of slaves, including a few demi-humans. Good morning. I greet him. I'm new to Aldoria and was hoping you could tell me more about the slaves. You have here. The vendor nods, his eyes lighting up with interest. Of course, young master. What are you looking for? Laborers, house servants, perhaps. Someone more combat ready or a beautiful, seductive bed warmer. I have a nice lady that can fulfill all 4 criteria. She is trained in the art of combat and servicing, and my wife also taught her how to be a proficient maid. With her strength, laborious jobs will also be finished in a breeze. He gestures to a dejected young woman that has eyes devoid of any hope with his hand, and I can see a wooden plate hanging from her neck, sitting on top of her bare, perky breasts with a few numbers carved on it. I can only chuckle wryly at the ingenious but utterly cruel and dehumanizing marketing strategy. She costs a lot, 5 gold and 35 silver. If the exchange rate is the same between gold and silver as it is with silver and bronze, then she costs 535 silver or 53,500 bronze. Way out of my budget. Besides, I want my slave to be more feisty, with a strong will to live. This one would likely jump into harm's way the first chance she gets. I'm interested in someone who can assist with protection and perhaps help me level up safely. I've heard that some slaves are magically bound to ensure their loyalty. Is that true? Average slave price list. The vendor smiles. Yes, indeed. All slaves here are bound by powerful magic to ensure they obey their masters. It's a contract formed by those of us who have a high level in the slave merchant class, a contract that prevents rebellion and ensures loyalty. It's perfectly safe and reliable. I nod, taking in his words. Can you tell me more about the demi-humans? What skills do they typically have? He gestures towards the demi-human section of his stall. Demi-humans are quite versatile. Many have enhanced physical abilities due to their animalistic traits. They can be excellent fighters, trackers, or even workers, depending on their background and training. For example, the dog kin over there is known for his strength and sharp senses, making him a formidable combatant. The rat kin is quick and agile, perfect for tasks requiring speed and stealth. And the rabbit girl has a keen sense of hearing and can detect danger from afar. Some of them are also exotic bed warmers that demand a premium price from customers should the young master wish to open up a slave brothel. They can also thrive in such a place because beastkin tend to have more endurance than humans. A few punches here and there doesn't even faze them, and even if they get injured they regenerate quite fast. Oh boy, being a sex slave sounds like a lovely way to live one's life, I must say. Thank you for the information. I'll need some time to consider my options. He nods. Take your time, young master. A wise choice can make all the difference. With that, I step back and continue to explore the market as my mind races with possibilities. After an hour of wandering around, I've seen most stalls and inspected their offerings. I feel confident in creating an average price list. Estimate. Crippled good for nothings, 1 to 5. Silver. Simple manual laborers, approximately 25 silver. Well-built manual laborers with above-average strength, approximately 50 silver. House servants, approximately 25 to 100 silver. Varying by experience and appearance. Sex slaves, -25 300 silver, with young, beautiful elves reaching over 10 gold 1000 silver. Combat slaves, low-level fighters start at 1 gold, with those above level 10 costing 3 to 5 gold, and those above level 20 easily exceeding 15 gold. Mages cost significantly more than non-magic classes. The most expensive slaves are those with both combat and sexual skills, often doubling their price. Young elves also demand a hefty premium due to their longevity, serving for generations if well kept. Unless I want to waste my money to house and feed a crippled old man or woman, I can't afford anything here, but it was definitely worth the time and effort to come here. I gained a lot of information and also had the chance to experience such a surreal, otherworldly place. As I leave through the gates, my attention is caught by a large mansion that also deals with slaves. The sign above the entrance reads, House of Aleron. In contrast to the chaotic and dirty market stalls, this establishment appears to be both elegant and neat, emitting an aura of refinement and affluence. The well-preserved front of the mansion, that's featuring large columns and carefully designed gardens, stands out among the other buildings in the place. Even though I know I don't have the money for anything, my curiosity compels me to take a look. I boldly climb up the stone stairs and push through the weighty wooden doors. The inside is as magnificent as I imagined. Shiny marble floors, detailed tapestries, and stylish chandeliers emit a cozy light. There are no slaves visible in sight. The only person I notice is an elderly woman cleaning the floor. A well-dressed attendant greets me with a courteous bow. Welcome to the House of Oleron. How may I assist you today? Thanks, but I'm just browsing. That's completely fine with us. However, our goal is to offer a personalized and confidential experience for our potential customers. If you come with me, 3 lead you to a private room where one of our merchants will meet you soon. Impressed by the top-notch service, I accept and soon find myself trailing behind the staff member through a hallway adorned with luxury. He guides me to an elegant, secluded space decorated with cushioned couches and a small table. The warm lighting in the room contributes to a calming ambiance, complementing the tasteful decor. Please feel at home. My coworker will be with you in a moment, the attendant states while gesturing towards the seats. I do as told and patiently wait all the while admiring the sophisticated room. A few minutes later the door opens and a man in stylish clothing walks in. He possesses a crisp, businesslike presence and holds a leather-bound notebook in his right hand. Good day, young sir, I am Marcus Oleron, one of the senior merchants here at House of Oleron. How can I assist you today? Oh, is this a family business? I'm interested in learning more about the slaves you have available. Though I'm not currently in a position to buy, I'd like to understand the skills and backgrounds they possess so that I can make an informed decision once I come back with funds. Marcus nods understandingly as he takes a seat on the sofa positioned in front of mine with the table standing between us. Of course, we cater to a wide range of needs and can provide slaves with various skills and expertise. Could you specify any particular qualities or abilities you're looking for? I ponder for a moment. I'm interested in individuals who could serve in both combat and support roles. Perhaps someone with healing abilities or proficiency in melee combat. Making a note in his ledger, Marcus responds, we have a few candidates who might meet your criteria. Would you like to see their profiles? Yes, please. He opens the ledger and begins describing several slaves, each with their painted portrait accompanying their details. Please wait, kind sir. He opens the ledger and begins describing several slaves, each with their painted portrait accompanying their details. Name, Seraphiel. Race, elf. Skills, herbalism, archery, healing, magic. Class, healer LVL 18. Sex slave, yes. Background, Seraphiel hails from the ancient elven forests and was captured during an invasion of her nation, Elvardia. Her extensive knowledge of herbs and natural remedies makes her an excellent healer. Proficient with a bow and able to use healing magic, she is valuable in both combat and support roles. Price, 65 gold coins. Name, Leora. Race, Catkin. Skills, stealth, hand-to-hand combat, night vision. Class, assassin LVL 19. Sex slave, no. Background, Leora comes from a tribe of feline demi-humans known for agility and combat prowess. An expert in stealth and hand-to-hand combat, she is ideal for tasks requiring discretion and strength. Her night vision gives her an edge in nocturnal operations. Price, 20 gold coins. I listen attentively as Marcus details more profiles. The high-level healer elf sex slave is the most costly, but I can understand why that is quite clearly. Healers are extremely rare and she can also use a bow, so she is not useless when no one is in need of healing. She is also a sex slave and her portrait paints her to look very tantalizing. Furthermore, she is an elf, which means if you buy her contract she will serve you and your descendants for many centuries. Sadly 65 gold coins is just an exorbitant amount for an asking price. Naturally, I can't afford any of these slaves for now, so I move on. Thank you for the information, Marcus. Could you tell me more about how your establishment operates in general? Marcus nods calmly, acknowledging my current financial position yet maintaining the impeccable service expected in such places. Naturally, we differ significantly from the sellers you might encounter in the open market. Firstly, we don't deal in kidnapped slaves. The background of those slaves is often unclear. Many are illegally captured by outlaws such as bandits and unauthorized slavers. You never know when a family member might come looking for them, seeking retribution. I gulp, considering his point carefully. I certainly don't want a lion daddy hunting me down and barging into my tent with a giant war axe because I bought his stolen daughter. We source our merchandise from 4 avenues, Marcus continues. First, debt slaves. They're individuals indebted to the kingdom or an establishment. We purchase their debt if repayment seems unlikely. Their roles depend on the debt's extent. Second, credit slaves, the most liberated. They enter slavery by choice due to financial constraints or a desire for focused work. You're essentially hiring temporary workers by paying their wages up front, unlike lifelong servants with minimal rights. A maid enters with a teapot, pouring its contents into 2 cups. She bows and exits, leaving Marcus and me to take sips before he continues. Next we have the criminal slaves. These individuals have minimal to no rights, having been convicted by local authorities and sentenced to a life of collared servitude. Lastly, war slaves. During national conflicts, the kingdom or its lords are legally permitted to bring back enemy soldiers or captured citizens as slaves, as long as we are at open war with them. We are at war with both the Beastman Confederation and the Alliance of Elvardia, which is a nation ruled by elves and dwarves in joint partnership, so there's an abundance of war slaves, especially the beastkin type as our Duchy of Greenvale borders their nation. Out of the 4 types of slaves, these ones are the least free, often having no rights as a living being whatsoever. Their master can do whatever they want with them, no matter how sinister. I can only nod. Sounds pretty brutal, but it is what it is. Blame the game, not the players. Slave sellers are just opportunistic merchants. I can easily imagine how financially rewarding this avenue of trade is. Another distinction is how we treat our products. We don't display them for everyone to see, and only problematic slaves are kept in cells. The rest have their own rooms, are well fed, and enjoy occasional luxuries. I see. May I ask about your treatment of prospective sex slaves? I inquire. If I ever consider such an expenditure, I'd want assurance they weren't mistreated or used. I have no plans to buy a sex slave at all, but I'm really curious how they keep their employees from ruining the products. Marcus meets my gaze with understanding. Naturally, sir. Male employees are strictly prohibited from interacting with them. A dedicated female employee trains each one in maid duties, sensual dancing, and giving oral pleasure, a practice that involves the use of a wooden tool. Originally I hadn't planned to mention it, but since we are already speaking of this topic, let me tell you that this is the final distinction between us and market sellers. Many of their women have endured numerous, forceful encounters with male or even female employees. If you do choose to purchase there, I highly recommend verifying the virginity of the slave. Even then, one can never be certain of what they've been put through during their captivity and training. Women have 2 other openings that may be used without leaving proof behind. After all, I understand. Thank you for your time and detailed explanations. You've significantly expanded my understanding of this aspect of life. I hope to acquire a reliable combat slave to aid in my advancement, but I lack funds. I'll return once I've saved enough coins. Unexpectedly, Marcus stops me as I rise from my comfy seat. Ah, wait, kind sir. Perhaps we can assist each other. Oh, you have my attention, man. Intrigued, I settle back onto the plush sofa. I'm listening. There's a particular slave who has proven quite challenging to sell. Marcus explains, his cold tone betraying some deeply rooted frustrations. I purchased her over a year ago for 8 gold coins, believing I could easily fetch 12, perhaps even 20 gold coins for her. She possesses a rare class, level 14, as a samurai, a derivation of the swordsman class, exclusive to those descending from a distant continent. Sadly, I had to grant her significant autonomy in her clauses, including the right to decline. Potential owners, typically, our most valuable products are also given this privilege, but they only decline on average 3 interested buyers. She is easily in the triple digits by now.